Welcome to Rolling for My Shades, where every Wednesday the dice decide the shades for the eyeshadow tutorial of the day. First, we roll a d6 to see how many shades we'll be playing with today, and we rolled a 4. And then we roll the d6 to see which palette the first shade will come from, and we rolled a 4. The fourth palette in my collection is the Titanium Foxes Crying by the Horses palette. This beautiful palette has 15 shades, so we will roll a d20 to select the first shade. We rolled the d20 and we got shade 15. The 15th shade in this palette is a beautiful smoky purple called Ombre. To see which palette the second shade would come from, we rolled the d6 again and we got palette number 3. The third palette in my collection is the Natasha Denona Mini Starlit palette. This palette has 5 shades, so we'll be rolling the d6. When we rolled the d6 for the first time, we got a 6. Our options here would be to nullify the shade or to roll again. I decided today to go ahead and roll again. When we rolled again, I took forever to realize that we rolled a 2. The second shade in this palette is called Galaxia. Galaxia is a very pretty metallic shade when applied with the fingers. And then we rolled the d6 to find out which palette the third shade would come from, and we got 2. The second eyeshadow palette in my collection is the Odin's Eye and Angelica Trick or Treat palette. There are 16 shades in this gorgeous palette, so we will roll a d20 to select the shade. We rolled an 11. The 11th shade in this palette is a delicious wet looking red. Now we roll the d6 to find out which palette the final shade would come from, and we found out it was the second palette, the Trick or Treat palette, for the final shade. When we rolled the d20 this time, we ended up rolling a 2. The second shade in this palette is Howl, which is a warm mustardy brown. And this is the color story that we're working with today. There are so many options with this color story, but I think I'm going to go kind of basic today. So to start with, I went in with that warm mustardy brown and started building out my look on the inner corner. Once I was happy with the inner corner, I started building up the purple on the outer corner and started blending it inwards. And here I carried what was going on the upper lid to the lower lid. And then I just wanted to blend out a little bit because I wanted to use this nice warm yummy brown to blend out the purple shade as well, so it wasn't quite such a stark contrast against my skin. Here I was building up the lower lid / lower lash line just a little bit more because I could see that it wasn't exactly balanced. I do realize that today's look is a pretty top heavy look, but I wanted to kind of balance out a little bit more. And then I just blended a little bit more before I proceeded to do the shimmers. So I don't typically like applying shimmers with my fingers, but I found that for this Natasha Denona palette, I really do prefer her shimmers applied with my fingers, so I went ahead and applied that shimmer to my inner corner and then blended it out a little bit more with a matte. Now I wanted to layer that delicious wet looking red in the middle where the warm brown and the purple meet. I thought about spraying the shimmer but decided against it because I did want to make this more of a softer blend and I didn't want the red to be too in your face. I wanted it to be more of that purple hue. Here I just went back through with some of the mattes because I wanted to make sure that the outer perimeter of this look was mostly matte, even though I am still blending the sparkles outwards as well. Because we're keeping today's look relatively simple, the only thing left is the lashes, and I am not using false lashes today because I am running out of time. But I did go ahead and put some mascara on my top and bottom lashes. I quickly cleaned up some mascara that ended up in my inner corner, and this is the final look of today. Thank you for watching today. Let me know what you thought of the final look, and I'll see you next week.